Hi. I feel really kind of awkward right now because I think about this a lot. I think about it every single day, but I've never said anything about it because a couple different reasons. One, I don't want to ruin someone's career for something that they did. Is it like I feel guilty even though I was the one who was assaulted? This happened last year. I haven't said anything. That's why I was too embarrassed. I was too feeling guilty even though it's not my fault. I guess I should start by saying how I knew him. This story is about Jake Paul. I was going to use a fake name, but if someone else, another girl, is in a situation like me and thinks that it's just someone that's nice and sweet, like, he's not. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and use his real name. It was Jake Paul. So I will start with how I knew him, I guess, and when it happened. It happened the summer before all this COVID stuff was happening. That's another reason I was afraid to say anything about it, because so much time has gone by. The time going by doesn't change anything. It still happens and I still think about it every single day since it has happened. I didn't watch any of Jake Paul's videos. I knew who he was. I knew his name. Like, his face is literally everywhere on like book covers and stuff. Like, it would be really hard to not know who he is. But I have never seen, still have never seen any of his videos. So how I met him was through a mutual friend, and I don't want to throw my friends under the bus because they're my friends, they're nice to me. So I was hanging out with my friend Becca, fake name, and she was like, oh my god, I'm bored, let's hang out with some cute boys. I was like, I know cute boys, let's hang out with Michael, fake name, by the way. I texted Michael and I was like, hey, what are you doing? It's been a while, let's hang out. And he was like, yeah, I'm down, come to the studio tonight. And I was like, bet. With Becca, we drove over to the address to the studio. What do you know, when we get to the studio, it's the whole Team 10 house. I felt intimidated. I didn't know that the studio that I was going to be pulling up to was like famous people's house. I've hung out with other like famous people, I've met famous people, like, it's fine being a normal person going to hang out with a bunch of famous people. You gotta kind of get that mindset, you know, like ready for it so you don't act stupid in front of them, whatever. So I was a little thrown off. I didn't know that we were going to be even going to the Team 10 house, which is just like a giant mansion basically where Jake and some of his friends live. As soon as you go in to the Team 10 house, right on the side of the wall, there's this thing that like takes your picture and has you sign an NDA form. Also, that is why I thought I wasn't allowed to talk about this, and then I made a TikTok today asked if someone assaulted me but I signed an NDA, like, am I allowed to speak about it? Because I thought if you signed an NDA, you're like signing away your rights to talk about anything basically. But yeah, after signing the NDA thing, I met Jake Paul almost immediately. I had to go to the bathroom. I was looking for a bathroom in this huge place. I walk into the kitchen and Jake Paul was there, and like a bunch of people that lived there were there, and they had like whiteboards and they were just doing like businessy stuff. I was just looking for the bathroom. I didn't know where the bathroom was. Jake was there obviously because it was his house, and he was like, hey, I like your hair. And I was like, oh, thanks. He asked if I had an accent. I don't know why I didn't think I sounded like that, and I was like, oh no, where's the bathroom? And then he showed me where the bathroom was, and then I just kind of hung out with my friend Michael and Becca for the remainder of the time there. And then Jake came up to me and he asked me for my phone number at some point. And even though this was like a year and a half ago, I do still have the phone that I had at the time, so I have all the messages and everything. He was really awkward. I don't know if it was just me or if he's like this with everyone. I mean, I don't think he's like this with everyone. I don't know. But he was really awkward when he was talking to me. Like, to me it reminded me of like middle school because he would text me even if I was like in the same room as him. I can put up the text here. I'm not sure exactly how many times I went to his house. Because they basically had someone recording in the studio that they have there like every day, and just like a bunch of people there hanging out. Not necessarily a party, but just like they were just really popular and always had people there, so they would ask me to come over. Not just my friend Michael, but Jake too would text me and ask me to come over. Texts here. He would ask me to come over, I would, and then when I was there, he wouldn't talk to me like to my face. He would say hi to me and then he would go do other stuff, and he would be texting me. And to me it felt like, you know, have you ever been in like middle school and you're with your crush but you're too afraid to tell them that you like them, so you text them, and it's really awkward, but it's middle school so it makes sense to be that awkward and weird. That's what it reminded me of. He would be like, hey, where are you? I'm like, I'm downstairs or whatever, like I'll come up, and then he would still text me even though I'm in the same room, and I just felt uncomfortable because why can't you just talk to my face if I'm here? But I just figured he had bad social skills. Like, I didn't know anything about him before, but after I met him I kind of like looked him up a little bit, and I guess he's been famous for like a long time, so I'm just assuming he always got what he wanted and never had to build like social skills and talking to people. Like, girls basically just like throw themselves at him, which is what I was seeing there. Like, girls were just throwing themselves at him, and he would go to his room with a different girl, like multiple different girls every day. Like, that's just what happened. It was fine, whatever. One of these days I was in the studio, some people were recording down there, and Jake like pulled me into this little corner area in the studio and started kissing me, and I was fine with that. I did think he was cute. I did want to kiss him. That is fine. That wasn't the issue that he kissed me there. It was weird because the place that he kissed me was like in front of everyone, so it kind of felt like he was showing off to his friends that he was making out with me. That was a little weird, especially since like one of my friends, Michael, was there. That was a little awkward for me, but it was fine. Flash forward a little bit, Jake grabs my hand and he starts walking with me, and I thought it was cute. He was just like talking to me, being nice and whatever, so I was walking with him, and he brings me to his room. People have brought me to their room before and I'm their friend, and they're literally just trying to show me their room, or they just want to talk to me away from the crowd of people, or sometimes they are like trying to do something sexual, but if I say no, they respect it, you know? So I didn't have an issue with following him to wherever he was bringing me in his house. I don't know. While we were in his room, it was like pretty cool. There's a big like aquarium with a bunch of fish in there and stuff. We were just talking about like, I was like, where are you from? And he's like, Ohio. And I'm like, yeah, but like what part of Ohio, whatever. We were just talking, and he was just like, you care about what part? Like, no one actually cares. No one actually wants to talk to me. Like the whole like, I'm famous, no one actually cares about me, they just want things from me. I don't know if that's just like a card he plays, like, oh, I'm just this famous person, but you get me, and like you actually want to know who I am. We were dancing in his room, like ballroom dancing, you know, and then we were like kissing and stuff, and then he like took it to his bed. Sex is very special and very important to me, but I haven't had sex with that many people. I haven't. Normally, not all the time, but normally everybody respects me when I don't want to do sexual things, so I thought that it was fine if I went in his room, and I thought it would be fine to kiss him because I thought he would stop if I didn't want to do anything else. Like, that's normal, that's what you do. So anyway, we were on his bed kissing for a bit, and then every time he would like try to put my hand places, or like try to put his hands places that I didn't want, I would just kind of move it away and be like, no, and then like, you know, just kiss, just back to kissing. And then at one point he said, if nothing is going to happen, then what's the point? What's the point? I don't know, maybe I could be one of your friends. Maybe I can just be someone that you kiss. Never, ever have I rejected someone's touches and they said, well, if nothing's gonna happen, what's the point? Like, what? But that is what he said, word for word. I thought that was weird. That made me uncomfortable. And then he gets up. He doesn't go away. This is the point where if what he wanted is sex, he sees he's not gonna get it. This is the point where we would just go elsewhere. You know, go back downstairs where everyone is. Go back to the studio. Like, he could even tell me to leave if he wanted to. If his sole purpose was to have sex with me and saw that that wasn't going to happen, he could tell me to leave. Yes, it would be like a jerk move, but he could have. But that is not what he did. When he got up, he undid his pants and grabbed my face and started fucking my face. I would like to say that I have only given oral sex to like 2 or 3 people before this, because that's really special to me. Honestly, more so than like penis vagina sex, because it's different with penis vagina sex. Mostly that's just like the only sense that's going into that is touch, you know? But when it's going in your mouth, that's touch, that's taste, that's smell, that's like, it's all in your face, you know? What am I supposed to do? He was literally, I was still laying down, he was on top of me and like holding my head like into him. Like I couldn't even tell him not to. He didn't ask for consent or anything. Like, he knew I didn't want to do anything with him because he said, if nothing's gonna happen, what's the point? And then he just shoves himself in me. That's not okay. On no level at all is that okay. It didn't last that long though, because he finished, he came in my mouth, and honestly it was less than 30 seconds, so it didn't last that long. It was like 20 seconds, if that. He did that, I couldn't go anywhere because he was literally grabbing my head and shoving himself in me. At that point I was really confused and like, what the heck just happened? Why did that happen? I was like, what the heck? So I just like kind of rolled over on his bed. I'm like, what the heck? And then he cuddled me for like 0.2 seconds. He literally put his arm around me and then got back up and then walked over to his door and he's like, okay, let's go back to the stew. And I'm just like stew as in studio for those that don't get it. Yeah, alright, let's go back to the stew. And I was like, okay, let me just like fix my hair and makeup first because it was all messed up. And I went to his bathroom that's connected to his room. I was trying to, and he's like, no, let's go. And I'm like, why would you sexually assault me and then not even let me like fix my hair and makeup? Like, I don't want to leave your room looking like this. I didn't want to be looking like that at all. Like, that's embarrassing to have like my makeup all like going down and like my hair all messed up. It's obvious that sexual things happen. I don't know. So I'm like, no, I'm going to fix this. And then like I just like fixed my hair and makeup as fast as I could. He grabbed my phone, and at the time I had a phone that was pretty old. I'm not one to keep up with updating my phone, you know, when everyone gets the new phone and stuff. And it's this one, so it's like pretty small. This is the size of phones like now, also about the size of what they would have been then. But this one was my phone, and as you can see, it's tiny. So when people were asking me for my number and like putting their number in my phone and stuff, they'd be like, oh, your phone is tiny. Like, I was really judged on not updating my phone. I don't know, maybe they're like, she's poor. I don't know. Yeah, basically everyone there would make fun of my phone because it's small and old and like an artifact. And Jake, at this point in his room, after I'm trying to like fix my hair and makeup and stuff to get out, he picks up my phone. He was like, come on, let's leave, get your dinosaur phone and let's go. And I was just like, wait a second. Because up until this point, he had been nice to me. He had been sweet to me, even though he was a little socially awkward and sometimes just like texting me instead of talking to me when I was right there. When he was talking to me, it was nice and sweet. So this complete 180 and like being sexually assaulting me, being just like straight up rude, that was just on top of that extra rude. Like, who cares? Who cares if someone updates their phone? But let me tell you, the only person I ever saw there that didn't say anything about my phone or anything negative about my phone, I think his name is Diablo. He has like the the moon tattoo, red hair at the time. He was nice. He put his number in my phone. He was the only person who saw the size of my phone and that it was an older phone. He was like, hey, that's cool that you don't care about updating it. It's cool that you don't care about that kind of thing. But everyone else made fun of me there for it. It's really weird. After that, my friend Michael found me crying and was asking me what's wrong, and I told him what was wrong and that Jake Paul fucked my face without consent. He was telling me, that's really messed up. I'm so sorry that that happened to you. I'll talk to him for you. And I just stayed there with him and my friend Becca for a bit, crying, and they were just like both being there for me. And then I went home. There was no contact between me and Jake after this. And I texted him a few weeks later, and I was just being normal, and I was like, hi, do you want to hang out? He didn't give me a response or anything. You might be wondering like why I would want to hang out with someone who did that to me, and that is because I wanted to talk to him about how that made me feel. Because somewhere in my brain I was thinking, what if he didn't do this to me on purpose? What if he didn't know how this made me feel? Like, what if he just does this to everyone because he's so socially awkward and thinks that this is what they want? I just wanted to talk to him and tell him, hey, I didn't consent for this. It made me feel so awful. I've literally only done this with like 3 people in my whole life because it's so special to me and you just took that from me. But I couldn't tell him because he never responded, and I'm hoping that my friend Michael talked to Jake. If he ever did talk to him, I don't know. I never got an apology or anything like that. I would have liked to have an apology because that was messed up and I didn't want that, and I didn't say, like, just because I let you kiss me and I let you hold my hand and I let you dance with me in your room, that doesn't give you the right to come in my mouth. If Jake ends up seeing this, honestly, I don't think it was anything significant to him. Like I said, there was a different girl with him every day. I don't even know if he would remember me. This is what I looked like at the time, Jake. Like, I met you when I looked like this, and that was wrong, and I would have liked an apology. And mostly I'm putting out this video, one, so Jake sees it, because that's not okay. And I've noticed a lot of men who harass or anything like that to girls, a lot of times they don't change unless it is put out publicly. Like, I was harassed by one person before, and he literally wouldn't stop. I kept blocking him and he kept making different accounts until I finally made a video about him, and then he finally stopped. And I found out he just moved on to other girls. But I'm saying this publicly about Jake Paul. Hopefully he's freaking embarrassed and realizes what he did and doesn't do it again, and ask people for consent. Like, is this okay? Like, do you want this? Like, and for people who say that consent isn't sexy, if you are in the moment with someone and you say, do you want me to fuck you? Are you just afraid they're gonna say no? Ask. Yes, it is that he didn't ask. I am upset about that, but even more so, I know he knows that I didn't want to do anything sexual with him because he said out loud, if nothing's gonna happen, what's the point? And I'm just like I've tossed and turned. Like, I've thought about this. I've thought about this literally every single day since it happened, but the more and more I think about it, the more I realize no one could be doing that and think that it's something right to do, you know? Like, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt for so long. I would like to say, I know a lot of people are going to assume that I'm just making this video for attention because there's always those people who don't believe you. And honestly, I'm saying this for the girls that will be in my place. The girls who are just going to hang out with their friend but they end up meeting him. For the girls who maybe want to hang out with him. Now you know, or even if you don't believe me, at least it'll be in the back of your mind when you're with him, you know? That's what I'm doing this for. Am I doing this for attention? yeah, I do want attention on this because it's a problem that's real and deserves attention, so.
It's the Sistine Chapel, but